Time now for Michigan's #1 outdoor radio show, Mike Avery's Outdoor Magazine. Mike Avery has covered the outdoors in Michigan for more than 4 decades, and that tradition continues today. Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Jay's Sporting Goods, the Eider Insurance Group, Angler Quest Pontoons, the Forward Corporation, Primal Outdoors, Security Credit Union, Offshore Tackle, Garber Chevrolet, Rapid River Knife Works, and by Michigan Brand Meats. Now, here's Mike Avery.
Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show right here on the Outdoor Magazine radio network on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan. And so glad to have you along with us as we... this is actually the last show before Christmas. This is the last time you and I are going to talk before Christmas. More about my thoughts on that coming up in just a couple of minutes. Are you enjoying basically what is a weather roller coaster? Up and down and up and down and up and down. Some parts of our state have ice already. Some parts of our state don't have ice. Some parts of our state have snow. Some parts of our state don't have snow. But here's the good part. Here's the positive part, at least from my perspective, not being a big fan of winter anymore. And I know we have to have winter. And I know that my ice fishing friends and my snowmobiling friends and my skiing friends, they want a good old-fashioned Michigan winter. And you know, if it happens, it happens. And I, you know, God bless you. Take advantage of it. Enjoy it. But I'm not a big fan anymore. I'm not disappointed enough with winter to move to Florida. No, far from that. Anyway, my point is, as you are hearing this radio show this weekend, the days are getting longer. That I will welcome. This, not getting fully light until 9 o'clock in the morning and starting to get dark at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't like that. The days are going to start to get longer now. So you got that to look forward to. I have not been back out deer hunting since we've last talked. In fact, I don't think... It wouldn't surprise me if I do not make it back out this season. I would like to get back out. But I would also like to know that there's a realistic or reasonable chance that I will see a deer during daylight. I don't think that's going to happen. On the property that we have to hunt, it's not happening. Everything is after dark. Everything is nocturnal. And I don't blame those deer. They've been hunted now for weeks and weeks, months basically. They've been hunted during bow season. They've been hunted during the youth season. They've been hunted, their archery season, rifle season, antlerless season, extended antlerless season, yada, yada, yada. I don't blame them. But I probably will not make it back out. Well, except to... I've got a primal wraith blind set up on the south side of a food plot, and we set that up earlier in the season to cover that food plot in a north wind. In fact, I sat there a couple days during bow season, and it was where I set the opening day of rifle season. I am going to take that down, though. I'm not going to leave that up year round because our hunting property is actually leased property, and the people who own that, I don't think they want to look at that blind off one of their major trails for the next 9 months. So I'm going to get out there and I'm going to take the blind down. Maybe when I go out there, maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll go out early in the afternoon, take the blind down, stash it in the truck, and then go back out and hunt till dark. I don't know. We'll see. We did have... I'm reluctant to bring this up because I don't want to do anything to put hunting in a bad light, and I don't want to do anything to further cause friction in the hunting community. But for the first time this year, I actually saw an example of neighboring hunters being real jerks. Our lease property is adjacent to state property. And there's a hunter over in that state land who appears to be very jealous that we have some private land to hunt. And he actually was quite rude to my granddaughter opening morning, to the point of being borderline threatening. And it's a good thing that my son James couldn't find the guy, because I think we could have had a problem. And I don't blame him, because when somebody threatens your daughter, all bets are off. And then actually, we've got a camera over towards the state line. We can see a gap in the fence to the state line, because a lot of deer cross through there. And every time the guy walks by there, he looks at the camera and he flips the bird. He flips the bird. He flips off the camera. I'm like, really? Is this what you want to do? Why do you want to cause this kind of friction? Why do you want to cause this kind of animosity towards other hunters? I don't get it. But I can only suspect that the guy is a jerk in real life too, and that's why he's a jerk as a hunter. And most hunters and anglers and trappers and sportsmen and women are good people. This guy just happens to be a bad apple for whatever reason. Early ice. Yes, we do have some early ice in some parts of our state. The Pure Michigan Hunt. I am going to win the Pure Michigan Hunt sometime while I am on this earth. I don't know if it's going to be this year. I suspect it might. The reason I want to win the Pure Michigan Hunt is I want to win a bull elk tag. I want a bull elk tag, and I know in the deepest part of my heart that even though I will continue to apply for a bull elk tag through the drawing every year, that I will never get one. I never will. I will keep trying, because if you don't keep trying, you're guaranteed you'll never get one. My best chances for getting a bull elk tag here in Michigan are to win the Pure Michigan Hunt, so that is what I am going to do. If I remember correctly, I'm sorry, I'm looking at a post here on a live stream I was doing just a minute ago. Got me off track. I shouldn't do that. And now I forgot where it was. Pure Michigan Hunt, the deadline to apply for that. See, you thought, right? You thought because I'm getting up in age and because I had a stroke, I wasn't going to come back with what I was going to talk about. But I did, and it kind of surprised me too. The deadline to apply for the Pure Michigan Hunt, if I remember correctly, is the end of the year. It's $5 to apply. So I'm going to apply, 5 times, whatever. Every year, though, somebody wins that who only applied once. But anyway, you get a bull elk tag. Now, it's an either sex tag, but you and I both know if you get an either sex elk tag, you're not going to take a cow, you're going to take a bull. So that's the one I'm really interested in. Plus, it's also a Michigan bear tag for any season, any part of the state. I'll grab that one too. If I win the Pure Michigan Hunt, I will be happy to donate the waterfowl side of it to one of my friends and the turkey side of it to one of my friends, because I like turkey hunting by myself. I don't need a guide because I have some experience doing it. So here's what the deal is. I'm going to win the Pure Michigan Hunt. I'm going to take the bull elk tag, and I'm going to take the bear tag, and I'll give the rest of it to you guys. Even the gear. You can even have the gear, and you can have, I don't know, I might keep some of the gear. You can have most of the gear, and you can have the turkey tag, and you can have the waterfowl hunt. How's that? Is that a pretty good deal? What else? Oh, the truck trolley promo. I got some. Listen, it's Christmas time, right? So let me give you some Christmas presents. Well, you got to hurry. If you go to trucktrolley.com, use the promo code Avery10, you can get 10% off on a truck trolley. Now, this is the removable sliding bed liner that allows you to have access to anything in the bed of your truck. It's removable in case you want to put mulch or stone or whatever back there. Trucktrolley.com, use the promo code Avery10. You get 10% off, free shipping. And if you're in what we used to call the old Tri-Cities area, Andy Weiss will come out and install it for you. Trucktrolley.com, Avery10. Rapid River Knife Works. You're not going to get a knife by Christmas time, but the promo for Rapid River is always there. RapidRiverKnifeWorks.com, Avery10, 10% off. Michigan Brand Meats, promo code Mike20. Go to MichiganBrand.net. We just recently finished up our last Wednesday night live for the holidays, for the season, for the year, and we did our last ham for the holidays as well. Let me tell you who's coming up on this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. After the break, Bob Hinds of Central Coast Angling talks about open water jumbo perch fishing. Then Dan Cooke, the newest member of the Michigan Wildlife Council. In our second hour, Joe Velsensky of the Michigan Trappers and Predator Callers Association, plus Tyler Mehigh of MUCC. This week's Ask Avery question. Avery, do you have any regrets in your life, in your career? Well, of course I do, and I might let you in on a couple of them. And in hour number 3, Vance Gawel, one of the best elk hunting guides in Michigan, joins me to talk about elk hunting in Michigan, and wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Minar. Okay, this is the last time you and I will get a chance to talk before Christmas. Let me wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas. I didn't say happy holidays. I didn't say happy winter solstice. I said Merry Christmas. We need to celebrate Christmas for what it really is. Now, listen, I know we have to have Christmas trees and presents and Santa and reindeer for the kids, but the real reason for Christmas, the real reason we should celebrate this season is the birth of a Savior, the birth of Jesus. That allows me, Mike Avery, to get through my life. I could not get through this world without having faith, without knowing that there is a Savior, there's something beyond this. And Christmas is the birth of that Savior. Santa's great, presents are great, Christmas trees are great, but the biggest present to me is the birth of that Savior. I would ask you to keep that in mind as we celebrate this Christmas season. Merry Christmas to you and your family. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Alpena on WZTK. That's 105.7 FM. You can hear us in Port Huron, WPHM 1380 AM. And you can hear us north of the bridge in Newberry, WNBY 1450 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine brought to you by the Linwood Beach Marina and Campground. Linwood Beach can be your year-round Saginaw Bay fishing destination. I don't care if it's open water. I don't care if it's ice. And right now, as we're sitting here in the studio, I'm not sure what it was. I know there was some ice out there in the shallow water of the bay. I haven't seen reports in the last couple of days. But it doesn't matter. If you are trolling, if you can get your boat out there and troll, Linwood Beach is your spot. If you are ice fishing and you're trying to get out on the bay, Linwood Beach is your spot. It is a great location on the west side of the bay near the beautiful small town of Linwood, hence the name Linwood Beach Marina. They have great people, great facilities, great service. Check them out online at linwoodbeachmarina.com. That's linwoodbeachmarina.com. Speaking of fishing, and we're going to go north of Saginaw Bay, way north, we're going up to Traverse Bay. I saw some pictures a few days ago of my good friends, the Grillo guys, the Grillo family, from Michigan Brand Meats, and they were holding some great big jumbo perch. And they were fishing in a boat. And they were fishing with Bob Hinds of Central Coast Angling, and he's with us now on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. Bob, welcome back. How are you? Bob, you there?
Yep, can you hear me?
Okay, I got you now, Bob. Hey, I saw those pictures from the Grillo guys. Very impressive. Nice job.
Hey, yeah. Might be better if you can hear me now. I just jumped over off my Bluetooth onto my phone. I'm up here at the boat launch.
Yeah, I can hear you. You're getting ready to go fishing, aren't you, Bob?
You know, I was waiting to get online or on the radio here. I had the boat just warming up. I sitting here at the ramp. I just backed up. I just laced up my boots.
Well, I appreciate you starting your trip a little bit late to talk with me for a few minutes. Tell me about your operation there. I'm amazed that you can fish open water so late in the year and you're able to target those jumbos like you do.
Yeah. We've been going at this for several years now, and as everybody knows, we haven't had much ice fishing or winter the last 2 years. This year, we kind of got winter a little bit earlier, and we had a very warm fall. Our fall fishery was kind of, because the water was so warm, it was a little bit tough this year. We still caught a lot of perch, but now we're just getting into the heart of it. My favorite time of the year, it's very, very nice out with the snow, and our warm-up days when we do get those 40-degree days feel pretty tropical. The fish are pretty deep. It's my favorite time of the year because we are catching the biggest perch of the year. I tell everybody, if you want that biggest perch of your life, you probably should come in December.
December.
Yeah.
What?
We catch a lot of very large perch in December and January on the days we can get out in January. I don't know if that's going to happen this year.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you can get out, you will get out, right?
Oh, yes. So right now, we're kind of playing chess with the snow. Some of our launches are already closed. All the docks are in, but some of them are closed down for the season. So I know I've kind of had to change things up from my normal program and kind of move around a little bit, use different marinas, different docks, just because winter set in so early and, we have snow blocking launches. And
you're fishing Traverse Bay, right?
Grand Traverse Bay, correct. I do get out on Lake Michigan sometimes. Lake Michigan's really hard to get out on just because of the weather, but we're always protected here in Grand Traverse Bay. As long as we don't get a hard south wind, pretty much can get out. I know the day the grill came, we had a pretty good south wind. It was actually a lot calmer than I expected. I expected 2 to 3 footers all day, and we were actually blessed with 2 foot being the worst and just a lot of 1 foot waves that day.
I got to be honest, 2 and 3 foot waves out there bouncing around all day. That you better catch some jumbos, or that's going to be a miserable day on the water.
Yeah, it can be pretty tough. That's why I said if it's out of the south and blowing a true 15 knots out of the southeast, there's a good chance I'm probably going to cancel because there's so much finesse going into, fishing large perch in 75 foot of water. You really have to feel for them this time of the year. The water temperature is low. We're sitting at about 40.5 degrees right now on the bay. You really have to feel and be able to identify those bites. And like I said, it's 75, 80 foot of water, and there's a lot of finesse. It's hard to see those bites when there's so much finesse in 3 foot waves. So a lot of times I just, we're not going to go. Yeah. We're not going to fish in these waves, and then we'll just wait for a day where it's 1 foot. And, the Grillos lined it up. Those guys have been fishing with me on the same day for 4 years in a row. I think that date is definitely called Grillo Day on my calendar. I've had my personal career best days fishing with those guys on that date, and they aligned the stars the other day. I mean, Butch came out angry, and he put some 14, 15-inch fish on the deck, and there was a couple times he was catching 2 at a time. So that guy's a monster when it comes to catching perch.
15-inch perch?
15-inch perch. I took a colleague out yesterday just for fun, and we went out, and he said, "I just want one 15-inch perch. I just want one for the wall." And I think the second one he drug up was 15 3/8, and I laughed. I was like, "There you go." And then we filled the bucket, of good quality perch. I said, "What are you gonna do with that big one? You gonna mount it?" He said, "Heck no, I'm gonna eat it like the rest of them." I guess no more trips for him. I thought he wanted a taxidermy bill, but turns out he just wanted a meal like everybody else.
Now, you said something interesting, though. You said it's hard to see that bite. So to me, and I'm no perch fisherman, I've done it, but I'm not an expert, but I'm trying to feel that bite. You say you're looking for the bite?
Yeah. There's not a lot of feel in it. That's my misconception of a lot of clients that come out, or, they're expecting to feel it, and they'll say, "Well, I never felt it." No, but you got to see it, because if you've done a lot of perch fishing for big perch through the ice, and, a lot of us have just fished with, a rod in hand trying to feel it or see it.
Yeah.
And then the other side of the hole, you got maybe a slip bobber, and a big perch will pull that slip down and hold it for like an inch or two underneath the surface. I've had that so many times when I used to ice fish a ton for perch, and it's the same concept. Like, you'll see your rod tip bend down and not move in the waves, and I'll just look back. I'll be like, "Get them, set the hook," and they'll set. They'll set and they'll lift up. Oh my gosh, they think they got a walleye or a bass on it. They drag this perch up that practically looks like a walleye. So, yeah, it's a lot more sight than it is feel.
When you're fishing that deep, what's your terminal tackle look like? You need some weight to get down there, don't you? Especially in the waves.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of, my terminal tackle. Taking it from top to bottom, I use 1,000 size reels, 6.5 foot fast action rods, light, fast action, light power. So they've got a real sensitive tip, 10 pound, 832 braid, 10 pound fluorocarbon leaders, custom tied perch rigs. I'm very simple. I use number 6 Aberdeens, 3 of them, one in the mud, two hanging above the weight, and then I have an 1.5 ounce bell. So it's a pretty streamlined setup. I've caught thousands and thousands and thousands of perch on that rig. It's something I tie. I've been tying it for years, and this time of the year it's all about protein. Big fish want a big meal, so you got to give them minnows. Early in the year, we're giving them wigglers, spikes, shrimp, waxworms, a lot of different things. But this time of the year, give them protein, give them minnows. They love a lively minnow. So if you got like a 2-hook perch rig and one's kind of looking meh, put a really good lively one on there, and you'll get bit. You'll get bit pretty quick.
How are you hooking those minnows? Because this is a topic of discussion.
Hot debate.
The old timers have their way of boy, I want to hook it this way. But how do you do it, Bob?
You hook them right through the nostril, right through the top mandible, right down through the bottom of the jaw, so it pins their mouth shut, and then you right through the nostril. You don't. If you ever watch perch eat in an aqua view, they're like walleye. They're a predator, so they're going to eat head first always. And then a particular reason I do that is because if you hook them in the tail or you hook them in the back and you're trying to drop that, especially in the back, and you're dropping down 70 feet and reeling up 70 feet, that minnow is going to twist, it's going to kill it, and it's going to wrap it all around your perch rig. They just go right through the nostril, and they wiggle, and then they just come in, and they eat head first, so they're getting the hook right away. And that is the way to do it, how I personally feel. If I fall in that old-timer category, I guess I'm an old man now.
I didn't mean that at all. But listen, however you decide to do it is the right way to do it, because your record stands for itself, speaks for itself.
Yeah. The track record, I'm probably the perch guy of northern Michigan at this point. And, what I've done works. It works for me. I'm not saying I'm the best there is by any means. I'm very humble to have a great business and been able to just be blessed with being on the water as much as I am. But time on the water will make you an excellent fisherman, and day in and day out I can be consistent because I have I've been so blessed to have so many amazing clients. The client I have waiting for me right now, this guy fishes with me 4 times in the fall and 4 times in the spring. He's a phenomenal, he only perch fishes with me. And because of clients like that, because of guys like the Grillos, so many of my great clients, I'm been blessed to be on the water a lot. And so I have a lot of experience. It's easy for me to find perch, but it's all due to my clientele, not because of me. I'm very humbled.
I'm going to ask you a question, and if I run out of time, we'll follow it up on the next in the next segment. How did you find this deep water trophy fishery in the first place? Did you stumble onto this, or were you looking for this?
I honestly stumbled on it, much like perch fishing, out of Portage, Indiana, out of Lake Erie, St. Clair. The classic style of perching is fish with other boats. And I noticed the other boats. And this was just at the beginning of my game of becoming what I am now. I just noticed other boats. And so I went out there, and that was before forward-facing sonar. All we had was 2D, so we really relied off of each other. Fast forward years, now we have forward-facing sonar. I've taken my knowledge, my ability to find perch in new spots, and know the habits of perch that I've actually put in my memory bank. And it's just like, oh, well, this is a great-looking flat. Let's go explore it. Oh, look, there's perch on this. Go figure.
At this point,
facing sonar has changed the game.
And we'll talk more about that after the break. I think at this point, if you find a spot that looks perchy to you, it's going to have perch. Bob Hinds of Central Coast Angling. CentralCoastAngling.com is the website, CentralCoastAngling.com. We'll take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine show. When we come back, we'll talk more with Bob about this whole concept of targeting these jumbo perch in deep water just before it freezes up, or as long into the winter as he possibly can. I will post a couple of pictures of the Grillo guys, of Michigan brand, holding these jumbo perch. You can see them on my Facebook page. I'll do that so you can see what we're talking about. When we come back, Bob Hinds of Central Coast Angling, CentralCoastAngling.com. Then we'll wrap up the hour with Dan Cooke, the newest member of the Michigan Wildlife Council, right here on Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Traverse City on WTCM 580 AM. You can hear us in Battle Creek on WBCK, that's 95.3 FM. And you can hear us north of the bridge in the Sioux on WKNW 1400 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Premier Maritime Training. If you've ever wanted to get your captain's license, I think this is your best bet. Captain John Littlefield taught my captain's class. He helped me get my charter captain's license. And if he can do that, he can help you as well. Check out the website, pmtcaptains.com, for more info. John has classes around the state. I'm sure you can find one that fits your schedule. That's pmtcaptains.com. I'm talking right now with a captain, Captain Bob Hinds of Central Coast Angling, centralcoastangling.com. We're talking about targeting open water, wintertime, jumbo perch on Traverse Bay. Bob has a client right now waiting to get on the water, but he's graciously agreed to give me a few more minutes. Bob, make sure you tell your guy that I do appreciate that. You were talking about forward-facing sonar. How is that helping you out?
Oh, gosh. Forward-facing sonar. At this point, we're 2024 going into 2025. Pretty much everybody I see has it now. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's live. You can see fish. I run the Garmin XR because that's the latest and greatest model as of like 2 years ago. Hopefully they drop something new so I can change soon. But I look about 300 foot, so it allows me to see fish out to 300 feet. I use it for all of my programs, including Detroit River walleye jigging. Allows me to see where the fish are at in the column. For perch, it allows me to see, first identify the schools, find the schools, readily, hastily, quickly. And then our perch, they kind of travel around. They don't sit in one spot rarely. And so it keeps me able to follow the perch, stay over top of the perch, and constantly engaged with them. I know ice fishing, I learned a long time ago, you go out and you'd have like 4 or 5 jumbo perch laying on the ice, and then you would be sorting all day long. It's because, large fish, these fish are large. They're movers. They're actively looking for food. They're schooling, so they're not going to sit in one place. So it allows me to follow them, allows me to identify, where they're at in the column, what. And then obviously having that technology has just advanced my ability to find, good perching locations. What do they want? Do they want to be over mud flats? Are they in the weeds? Are they next to structure? And a lot of our stuff on Grand Traverse Bay is structure-based, depth-based. And then the times that I've fished northern or Lake Michigan, certain other areas on Huron, it has allowed me to find fish amongst structure. A lot of my bigger body of water fish are structured related. So it really helps just, weed through the column, weed through the areas. And, not all areas I find here on Grand Traverse Bay are other areas. I go a lot on research and development days. I take a buddy out. You can plan on striking out. I know I've had my dad on the boat 2 times this year, and we're just looking for schools. And there's one day I think I fished with Dad 2 weeks ago, and we caught 1 fish all day long. And he's like, I thought you were good at this. And I'm like, I didn't tell you. Oh, we're looking for new schools today. So if I ever invite you fishing, and I say it's research and development day, just know that we're going to have good conversation and probably not catch a lot.
Well, you have invited me fishing, but now that I know that, I'm going to say, okay, Is this a research day or is this a fish catching day, Bob Hinds?
Yes. You want to come on the fish catching day. Just come the days that, try to weasel in and get on that December 16th day with the Grillos.
Oh, listen, if the Grillos are with you, you're on a fish catching day. I know that for sure.
Yeah, just message Nick. Nick doesn't come in October or November at all.
Yeah, because he's hunting.
Because he's deer hunting like me. But magically he always shows up in December. So just be like, hey, are you fishing December with Bob? And then just show up. Just be like, I'm going.
That sounds like a good plan. I love fishing with the Grillos. Do perch of the same size tend to school together? If you find jumbos, are they going to be a school of jumbos or are they mixed in with smaller fish?
I think with the Grillos the other day, we had we filled up 2 5-gallon buckets. I think that somebody caught an 8-incher in there, and that was the smallest one of the day. I think everything else was plus 10 inches up to 15. I know yesterday we fished 2 different schools, shallow fish and deep water fish, and all of our deep water fish were plus 13 inches,
Jeez.
and then all our shallow water fish were 8 to 13 inches. So, yeah, generally if you're fishing deep, you're getting big ones. If we're fishing deep, and a lot of times people say, I just want to catch big ones. Okay, let's go grind it out all day and let's go fill a bucket or two, and we'll have the same amount of meat as I've put 108-inch fish in a 5-gallon bucket before, but I cannot put more than 35 fish in a 5-gallon bucket if I'm fishing big fish.
Wow. Bob, that's very impressive. I'm going to let you get on the water now and go catch some of those big fish. Bob Hinds of Central Coast Angling, centralcoastangling.com. Appreciate your time. Good fishing to you.
Thank you, Mike. Have a great day.
I'm having a great day because I'm here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio. I would be having a better day if I was on the water with Captain Bob Hinds of Central Coast Angling. He has invited me up there before. I first learned of him. I'm trying to think. I think he was on a Michigan Outdoors TV show, or perhaps I met him through the Grillos. I don't remember what it was, but the guy can catch some fish, and he can catch some jumbo fish. Bob Hinds of Central Coast Angling, centralcoastangling.com. When he talks about the smallest fish of the day being 8 inches, when I've been out perch fishing, primarily on Saginaw Bay, an 8-inch fish is a good fish. Now, there are jumbos down here, too. But if they're being caught in the numbers that Bob is catching those Traverse Bay fish, nobody's talking about it. But that's really pretty much how perch fishermen are. Perch fishermen are kind of tight-lipped. In fact, I wonder if the locals up there get mad at Bob for talking about those fish. We'll take a break. Dan Cooke coming up. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Caro on WKYO 1360 AM. You can also hear us in Caro on WIDL 92.1 FM. You can hear us in Flint on Sports Extra 1330 WTRX. And north of the bridge in Marquette, WDMJ 1320 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine brought to you by VersaSkins. Just change your skin for the season you're in. Why buy a bunch of different sets of expensive hunting clothes when you can buy one good quality set and then snap on and zip on an outer shell of a different camo pattern in less than a minute? If you are looking for big sizes, 4, 5, 6X, VersaSkins can help you out there. And if you are a saddle hunter, VersaSkins makes jackets specifically for saddle hunting. Check them out online at versaskins.com. That's versaskins.com. Or go to Amazon, amazon.com, and do a search for VersaSkins brand. VersaSkins, just change your skin for the season that you are in. Right now, I want to talk with Dan Cooke. Dan is the newest member of the Michigan Wildlife Council. This is a group that I have partnered with for quite a while now, since the group started. When I heard there was a group being formed to promote hunting and fishing in Michigan, I said, I want to know more about them, and I want to work with them. And I have. Dan, welcome to the Outdoor Magazine show, and congrats on being named to the council.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. It's good to be here this morning.
Tell me about the council, your role on it. What do you expect? What's this going to be like? What do you want to get accomplished?
Absolutely. So the Michigan Wildlife Council has been around for about a decade now. And our job as a government body is to educate the public about really the value of hunting and fishing for a myriad of benefits for Michigan's outdoors, from conserving wildlife to funding our parks and trails and waterways, and really just getting the public more activated. For me specifically, my role is I am a media member of the council. This is largely due to my company, Expedition Detroit, that promotes outdoor recreation within an hour's drive of downtown Detroit, including hunting and conservation activities. So with the council's goal of reaching more of all of Michigan, but specifically activating Southeast Michigan conservationists, they felt like my experience with Expedition Detroit would fit nicely within the council's operations.
Oh yeah, you're in that sweet spot. The council is specifically targeting Southern Michigan, Southwest Michigan, Southeast Michigan. Since you're already there, since you're working in the outdoors there, I can see why you have been named to the council, Dan.
Yeah, it was a pretty natural fit. I mean, the important role of the council in educating the public just fit hand in glove with what we've been trying to do with really reaching Southeast Michigan's outdoor community. So it was a natural fit. It's been great being the newest member of the council over the last few months, and it's really exciting seeing both the amount of work that the council has done and what we're looking to do heading into 2025.
Yeah, for me from the outside, I'm excited too to look at 2025 because even though the bulk of the attention is on Southern Michigan, I know there is some talk now about expanding the reach a little bit, expanding the audience a little bit, and that really excites me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really what the council is trying to do is continue to educate the public and perpetuate the positive benefits of hunting. In northern Michigan, hunting for a lot of communities is just a way of life. It's part of Michigan's heritage. And one focus that the council is really looking to take forward into 2025 is demonstrating that whether you're from Metro Detroit or Grand Rapids or Marquette or Traverse City area, we're one state. We share one heritage, and regardless of whether you recreate in the Keweenaw or Alpena, the benefit that derives from the sale of hunting and fishing licenses for people getting out of the woods, that it really benefits us all collectively across the state. So while we're still focused on reaching new communities of hunters, really our focus on the macro is showing how we are one Michigan, and that hunting and fishing really continues to form a part of our collective legacy and heritage.
I love that message. That's part of the base principle of what I am all about, what this radio show is all about, is promoting and celebrating our history and tradition of the outdoor lifestyle. So Dan Cooke, newest member of the Michigan Wildlife Council, good luck in this. Congratulations. And any way I can help you guys out, please let me know.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Good to talk with you again, and all the best to you and your show.
Same here. Dan Cooke of the Michigan Wildlife Council, here for MIOutdoors.org is the website, here for MIOutdoors.org. We'll take a break now for the top of the hour. Speaking of the tradition of the outdoor lifestyle, in hour number 2, we're going to talk about trapping. I don't think there is no richer tradition of outdoor expertise in Michigan than trappers. Joe Velsensky is going to join me. Then Tyler Mehigh of MUCC. And this week's Ask Avery question, an interesting one. Somebody says, hey, you've had an interesting year, Avery. When you look back on your career, is there anything you would have done differently? How did you get here? And do you have any regrets? Well, maybe. We'll find out in hour 2.
Time now for Michigan's #1 outdoor radio show, Mike Avery's Outdoor Magazine. Mike Avery has covered the outdoors in Michigan for more than 4 decades, and that tradition continues today. Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Jay's Sporting Goods, the Eider Insurance Group, Angler Quest Pontoons, the Forward Corporation, Primal Outdoors, Security Credit Union, Offshore Tackle, Garber Chevrolet, Rapid River Knife Works, and by Michigan Brand Meats. Now, here's Mike Avery.
Indeed, this is the big guy, Mike Avery. Thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction. And welcome to hour number 2 of this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show, right here on the Outdoor Magazine radio network on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan. And as I say each and every week, I am strongly and firmly convinced the best way to listen to this show, if you can, is on your local radio station, your local AM or FM station. If you can't, if your local station doesn't carry all 3 hours of the show, or if you live in, I want to say some part of our state not covered by the broadcast signal, but it's basically one part of our state not covered by the broadcast signal of the show, there is a podcast version of the Outdoor Magazine radio show that is available. You can hear that podcast, and the content is the same. The content is exactly the same, but the broadcast stations, the radio stations, get the content of that show before I upload the podcast version. You can hear that podcast on my website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. I put it up on my Facebook page. It's all over the place. Just about anywhere you listen to a podcast, you can hear the podcast version of the Outdoor Magazine radio show, including Audible, LinkedIn, Google Play, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Spotify, the whole Deezer, Odyssey, the whole 9 yards, even YouTube. It's not a video version of the podcast, but an audio version goes up on YouTube, and people watch/listen to it there every week. I do like podcasting. I think podcasting is crazy, the way it has grown, the cool thing about podcasting? Anybody can get into it. If you have an idea, if you have a passion, if you want to teach, if there's a topic you want to talk about, if you've always wanted to talk about something but couldn't get the audience. For example, back in the day, in order for me to do anything live, I had to have, a live truck and a photographer and all the people in the studio. These days, you can use social media and go live right away. And podcasting, you can take your phone and do a podcast and put it online. And if your content's good, if your promotion's good, you can find an audience. So I do love podcasting, and I would actually encourage you, since you're not probably going to be able to go out and start your own outdoor radio show, but you can start your own outdoor podcast. Each month I do podcasts for my advertising partners, including Offshore Tackle, Angler Quest Boats, and Primal Outdoors. So keep an ear out for those as well. I was talking at the end of the first hour with Dan Cooke of the Michigan Wildlife Council about this concept of the outdoor tradition here in Michigan. And that's what this show is all about. That's what I am all about. The history and tradition, promoting this outdoor lifestyle. I am firmly and strongly convinced that there are no more knowledgeable outdoors men and women in Michigan than trappers. Our state was early on, way back, it was explored by trappers. Our history goes way back, but think about this, and this is the reason why I say trappers are so knowledgeable. If you are, say, deer hunting with a gun, or gun hunting of any way, if you get a critter within, 100 yards, 150, 200 yards, whatever your range is, you can take that animal. A trapper, oh, no. A trapper, in order to capture their prey, has to have the animal move through a confined area or even step in like a 4x4 inch area to put their foot in a trap. That takes a lot of knowledge, a lot of skill, and a lot of experience. That's why trappers have much respect from me. Joe Velsensky is, I believe, the president these days of the Michigan Trappers and Predator Callers Association. We've had him on the show before, but I think he's now the president of the group, and he's with us once again. Joe, welcome back. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Are you now the president of the Michigan Trappers and Predator Callers Association?
I am. I was elected president at our August convention, August 17th, 16th, 17th. I've hit the ground running, and we've got a great group of people, great group of board members, and we are hitting the ground running going forward.
Well, and good for you, and congrats on the title. Man, you stepped right into a world of things though this year, didn't you? With the lawsuit, you and MUCC against NRC. Do you mind, Joe?
Yes.
Can I ask you, Joe, what's the status of that, or do you don't want to go that direction today?
No, yes, no. It's public knowledge. We don't want to keep anything. What you'll see from us, and you've heard it in politics, I'm sure at least once, is transparency. And that's what I want to bring to the MTPCA, the Michigan Trapper and Predator Callers Association. what we've done, and so is MUCC, we, along with the NRC, that's who we actually, it's an appeal. People refer to it as a lawsuit, so we'll just call it a lawsuit today.
Okay.
We have filed our briefs with the court. They're in the judge's hands right now. So MUCC, MTPCA, both have filed briefs, and along with the NRC's brief. So now it's up to the judge. If she determines it needs to go to litigation, then that's where it will go. There's a couple other options. The NRC is going to be under new leadership. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
The old chairman, the old chair of the NRC, Tom Baird, was his last day was December 12th. After that he stepped down as chairman of the NRC. So what does that mean? It means that the NRC could review this coyote season and maybe go back to what it was prior to March 14th of 2024, bringing it to a year-round season again. And Mike, and I want to expand on that just a little bit.
Sure.
It's not, losing the 3 months season is a big deal. It really is, but it's bigger than that. It's about the resource. It's about managing the resource, and it's about Proposal G. So Proposal G, as you know, in 1996 was passed by 66 or 67% public support that they wanted the wildlife and natural resources to be managed with sound scientific management. And that's what we filed our appeal or our lawsuit on, is that the NRC did not use sound scientific management. They used public perception. They claim it was social science, but that's not sound scientific management from, deer biologists and wildlife biologists and everyone else. So that's what the issue is there. We need to manage the resource. And we as trappers and predator callers, we don't over-harvest our resource. We only we take what Mother Nature is going to deplete. So it is a renewable resource. I don't like to make this reference, but it is kind of on the same lines as forestry products or anything like that. We manage it. We harvest the surplus animals. Does that make sense to you?
No, well, it makes complete sense to me because you would be crazy to go out there and say, I want to decimate or wipe out a population, because then you would have nothing left to trap, nothing else to enjoy. So, yeah, the fact that you manage a population makes complete sense to me. I also find it interesting that you bring up this concept of social science, because I'm with you. I mean, there is sound biological wildlife management techniques, and they don't include social science, which a lot of the modern way of thinking does want to include that. And I don't think it should be there either.
Right. And it shouldn't be. It should be left up to the specialist, the scientist, the biologist, the wildlife biologist. And we have some top-notch biologists that work for the DNR. And they spend countless hours researching data and information about all these species. Cody Norton is probably the top fur bearer specialist in the state, and kudos to him. He does a fine job. He works with organizations like the MTPCA and MUCC and all the other user groups to find out their input using our direct input at meetings, along with the mail-in surveys to fur harvesters, and using that is a great tool to manage these resources and manage the wildlife. We want it around for future generations.
Exactly.
But we also want to control those populations. So those whether it's coyote or raccoon or fox or whatever, muskrat, beaver, don't get out of control. What you're going to see in the DNR news, the NRC issues this coming in 2025 is beaver control on some of the northern watersheds, the Black River watershed, for example, in a lot of trout streams in northern Michigan.
Well, hang tight, Joe. We got to take a break. There's a lot more I want to talk to you about. But we do have to take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine Show. We're talking with Joe Velsensky, who's the president of the Michigan Trappers and Predator Callers Association, MTPCA.com. And I had not heard this that Joe brought up, with the new change in the guard at NRC. Wouldn't it be a lot easier if they just came back and said, you know what, it was a mistake and we're going to fix that? Boy, that would make a lot of people happy. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I don't think Joe's saying it's going to happen, but we can wish, we can hope. Joe Velsensky of the Michigan Trappers and Predator Callers Association, MTPCA.com. More coming up. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine Show in Sheboygan on Big Country Gold, WCBY. It's 1240 AM, 100.7 FM. You can hear us in Lansing on WILS, 1320 AM. And you can hear us north of the bridge. Let's go to Iron Mountain, WMIQ, 1450 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by the company that makes this sound. Do you want to hear that again? I do, because it's a pretty cool sound. You know what that sound is by now, don't you? That's the sound of my Rapid River knife locking back open. I just pulled it out of my pocket. It is in my pocket all the time. I think a knife is one of the most valuable tools a person can have. And if you're going to have a knife, why not have a Michigan-made knife from Rapid River? Handmade by craftsmen in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. The website, rapidriverknifeworks.com, rapidriverknifeworks.com. If you go there and use the promo code Avery10, you can get 10% off your entire order. Better yet, if you can, go to their showroom on US 2 just east of Rapid River and check out what they have to offer. Now, I will be honest, this time of year, that showroom might be a little lean. It might be a little bare. Because the Christmas rush, Rapid River knives have become so popular that they're going to have to work now for weeks and weeks and weeks to restock their stock. But regardless, rapidriverknifeworks.com, either in the showroom or online, promo code Avery10, get 10% off a knife that'll last you a lifetime, handmade by craftsmen and guaranteed for life. rapidriverknifeworks.com. We're talking right now trapping, and you can bet every trapper out there has a knife in their pocket. Joe Velsensky, who is the president of the Michigan Trappers and Predator Callers Association. Joe, in the first segment, we talked about some of the, I don't want to say politics, but some of the things going on around trapping behind the scenes. Let's talk about trapping specifically these days. Is it still popular? Is it still viable? Is it still necessary and needed?
It is, and all of those above, I'd say yes to all of those. It is popular. Is it? Can you make a couple extra dollars off of it? Well, let's just say you may make a little bit more being a greeter at Walmart, but this is,
But it won't be as much fun.
I don't like. No, exactly, and it gets you outdoors, Mike.
Yeah.
What I like to I also teach trapper education. So when I talk to people about trapping, and when people bring up the subject of money, if you're doing it for money, you're doing it for the wrong reason. But what I like to refer to this as is one hobby that can help sustain itself. So you and I deer hunt, you and I bear hunt, we turkey hunt, we squirrel hunt, duck hunt, rabbit hunt, whatever. And those are all very enjoyable. You can do it by yourself, with family, with friends. And if you're lucky, you get a very nice, delicious meal and maybe something to hang on your wall. But you don't get a monetary return on it. Maybe if you sell a deer hide from a big deer, you might get $3 or $4 from it. But trapping, you're managing a resource, you're controlling the population, and those animals that you're trapping, you can send that in to be sold for at a fur sale, or you can send them in to have them tan and make a garment out of them. There's markets for all the byproducts too, which byproducts would be like the skull, some of the meat. So yes, you can get a return on your endeavor, your outdoor adventure. But in fact, coming up December 21st at 10 a.m. at Jay's in Clare, Jay's Sporting Goods, in their conference room is the MTPCA fur sale. It's the first one of the year. We have 3 fur sales a year. We have multiple fur buyers bidding on people's fur, and that can be what we call put-up fur, which is let's take a muskrat for example. You've caught it, you've brought it home, you skinned it, you fleshed it if needed be, and you put it on a stretcher and let it dry for 3 to 5 days or so, or a week. And those are dried pelts. Now those can be sold just like that, and you'll have those fur buyers bidding on your fur. And depending on the species, some species, gain more dollars than the next, and that varies from year to year. I'm sure you've heard or watched the television show Yellowstone.
Hasn't everybody?
In the past few years. Yeah, well, I'm going to raise my hand. I've never watched it. I've seen the commercials, but
good for
I've
you.
never watched it. But what made our beaver prices soar for the last 3 or 4 years was the TV show Yellowstone.
No kidding.
And I don't know if a lot of your listeners understand this, but cowboy hats, true cowboy hats, are made out of beaver felt. Beaver felt is the underfur of the beaver. Just like a dog, like your Labrador Retriever has dense underfur, so does a beaver. And there's a process. It's a tumbling process, a separation process, and then it's pressed into felt and then steamed and made into cowboy hats. So everybody, after the Yellowstone came out, everybody wanted a true Stetson hat or a true cowboy hat, and that drove supply and demand. And so beavers were up. This year is the first year in 3 or 4 years that the beaver price has dropped a little bit, maybe as much as 40%. But everyone who wanted a hat or needed a hat or thought they needed a hat probably got it already. So that, now the demand is dropped off. And, before that, it was coyotes were in demand because of the trim trade, which people that were making parkas or making fur coats, they were using beautiful coyote pelts for the trim on the fur or around the sleeve or the bottom of the coats. So it goes up and down for value. Right now, skunks are a very good value if you're a trapper.
Really?
So, yeah, the skunk pelts are high. They can gain as much as $15 a piece right now.
Can I ask you a stupid question though? Right? How do you trap a skunk?
No questions are stupid.
Well, how do you trap a skunk without ending up smelling like a skunk?
That's a very good question. No, it's possible to do that. There are several different techniques you can use with skunks. We trappers, when we catch a live animal, especially like a skunk, and it doesn't matter if it's a skunk or a coyote or a fox or a bobcat, if it's an animal we choose to keep and we want to harvest it, we have to dispatch that animal. But we want to do it as humanely and as efficiently as possible. We don't want it to suffer. So with a skunk, probably, if you caught it in a foothold trap where it's alive, probably your best option is, and this is for an adult, not a kid, but is to use a 22 behind the front shoulders. A skunk has to bear down to spray. If you dispatch a skunk in the head, it's going to spray almost every time, and you don't want that. There are other options, but that's and if you're using body gripping traps to trap them, under outbuildings or something like that, then they're dead already. Those are killer traps. But
Joe, I got it. Before we run out of time, I want to follow up on something you said. If you choose to take that animal, trapping
Yes.
is one of those things where, unless you're trapping underwater, like a water set,
Right,
but
right.
but dry land
Yep.
sets, you can actually choose whether to harvest or not. And people think trapping is cruel and inhumane, but these foothold traps these days, you can let a critter out of these things and they'll walk away and they'll be just fine, right?
You are absolutely 100 correct. These traps don't break their legs. They don't cut the skin. They don't damage an animal. They are just a holding device until the trapper gets there the following morning. By state law, by Michigan law, the traps have to be checked every day for live restraining traps in the Lower Peninsula. But yes, if you catch, let's say it's a small coon, or maybe it's a female fox or a female bobcat, or maybe it's not the prettiest bobcat and you want to let it go, using a catch pole, which is no different than what a dog catcher uses, you safely push its head away, use your feet to release the trap, and put a barrier between you and the animal. I like to use, if there's brush or a brush pile or a tree or something, a bush, and then I put the animal on the other side of that. So there's a barrier between you and the animal. And you release it, the animal goes one way, you go back the other way, and maybe next year it will be a prime animal or a bigger animal. So, yeah, they're unharmed, unscathed, ready to go.
Well, as I said at the beginning of the discussion, our conversation, I have so much respect for you folks because it takes so much skill to get an animal to I do. I mean, I think, looking at it from the outside, I'm not a trapper. My dad was. It's one of those things I wish I would get into, but I know realistically that I won't. But that's an interesting topic, too, because you folks are really putting a push on to get people into your sport, and you're very open about it, and you're very encouraging about it. In fact, there are meets and groups and get-together and classes to encourage people to get into trapping, right?
Yes, sir. There is, if you go on the DNR's website under education, you can find trapper ed classes throughout the state at different times of the year. We do, that's one of my goals for 2025 as a new president. I want to start some what are called workshops. They're not necessarily a trapper's education, but it's a familiarization with trapping, how to get into it, what you need, the meat and potatoes of it. I want to bring that throughout the state, for people that whether they want to set 2 traps on a weekend or they want to set 22 traps, all week long. We can help guide them, and we want to teach and educate the public on the responsible, ethical way to trap. We are not the boogeyman that lives out in the shadows. We want to bring this out in the public, and again, it's just a management tool that we use, whether it's hunting, fishing, trapping. And one thing, I know our time is limited, but
real quick.
Okay, the cruelest thing we could do to wildlife is fail to manage it. So that's a simple statement, but it's true whether it's fish, trees, or wildlife. The cruelest thing we can do to wildlife is fail to manage it.
Joe, I could not agree with you more. Very well stated. You're doing a great job there with the Michigan Trappers and Predator Callers Association. Keep it up. We will talk again. The website for MTPCA, which is Michigan Trappers and Predator Callers Association, is mtpca.com. That's mtpca.com. When we come back, another group with more initials, letters, MUCC, mucc.com, and Tyler Mehigh. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Houghton Lake on the Twister, 92.1 WTWS. You can hear us in Sandusky, WMIC, 660 AM, 95.3 FM. And you can hear us north of the bridge. Let's go to Escanaba, WCHT, 600 AM, 93.5 FM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Killer Food Plots. I know you're not putting in food plots right now, but you might still be hunting over food plots. And you can be spending a lot of time thinking about how to improve your food plot hunting experience for next season. I recommend Michigan-based, family-owned Killer Food Plots. Check them out online at killerfoodplots.com. That's killerfoodplots.com. And if you are still out there hunting, don't forget about the line of scents and attractants from Killer Food Plots. Family-owned, Michigan-based, Doesn't get any better than that. Killer Food Plots, killerfoodplots.com. Look for Rich and crew, Rich Krazan, at the different outdoor shows, the show span shows across the state coming up after the first of the year. Killerfoodplots.com. I want to turn our attention now to MUCC, Michigan United Conservation Clubs, a group that I work very closely with because I believe they are doing a good job in promoting and protecting and preserving and educating us about our outdoor resources here in the state. Tyler Mehigh is their Chief Information Officer with us now on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. Tyler, welcome back. How have you been?
Good, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing real good. Listen, I'm enjoying your new podcast as I sit there, as I watch you guys sit there and just kind of shoot the breeze and get information out. I find it very entertaining. Good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun. We've had some really great guests so far, including yourself, and it's been a blast to do.
Well, in the most recent podcast, I heard you guys talking about something. I was already aware of it, but I was glad to see you promoting it. It's a fundraiser, probably one of the bigger fundraisers MUCC's ever done, but it takes an interesting twist. But I'm going to let you tell me more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is one of the best opportunities we've had. So for the first time, Michigan United Conservation Clubs is holding a Super Bowl raffle. So this is a raffle for Super Bowl 59. It's a $33,000 package. So what this comes with is 2 tickets to Super Bowl, 3 nights at the Hotel Monteleone, a $1,500 flight voucher, a Super Bowl gifting experience, a New Orleans jazz brunch, an on-location lounge featuring the Lombardi Trophy, and lots of other VIP experiences. So it's not just your run-of-the-mill tickets. There's so much more that comes with it. It's truly a VIP package. It's going to be amazing. This is such an amazing opportunity for whoever wins. Tickets are currently $100. They can be bought on the MUCC website. And we are super excited to see whoever wins this because they're going to have just an amazing weekend.
Well, and your timing on this one is interesting. The way the Lions are playing this year, it's not inconceivable.
Hey, I want it on the record. You said the Lions, not me. I'm not going to jinx them.
I know. That's why I was reluctant to say it. But I've got to believe that that response to this is strong. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get in on this. But what's the deadline? How long do we have?
Yep. So the drawing is January 6th. So you have up until January 5th to purchase tickets. And you're right. This is, it makes it so much better because as you and I both know, we've been watching the Lions for years and we have never even put those two in the same sentence.
Yep.
The Lions and Super Bowl never go in the same sentence. So the fact that you might have a chance to see a Michigan team in the Super Bowl is just another reason to buy tickets. And, I'm going to say that the more tickets we buy, the optimism of them going is just going to keep increasing.
Oh, I see how this
we're
works.
Helping them out,
I see how this works. Give MUCC money and help the Lions go to the Super Bowl.
That's right.
How did you guys come up with this? I mean, this is a pretty cool package. Was this the generosity of friends of MUCC that helped make this happen?
Yeah, so it was actually one of the board members that came to us and said, hey, I have an opportunity to do this. We're trying to think outside the box, find new ways to grow MUCC. And this was just one of those opportunities where when it's presented to you, you can't say no, right?
No, exactly.
So when it was brought to us, we said, hey, we're going to do whatever we can to make this happen. And it was a little bit of a quicker turnaround than we would have preferred, but we got it done. And, again, the package speaks for itself because it is just such an amazing opportunity. So came to us a little bit on a whim, but we are running with it at full sprint.
Well, I'm glad to see that. I mean, hey, you know me. I'm all about promotional opportunities and raising money for a good cause. On a much smaller scale, the second annual Mike Avery Outdoors Charity Golf Outing, which will be to benefit MUCC's youth camp, we have locked that in stone. It is Friday, July 25th, again at the West Branch Country Club. Too early to make reservations or anything like that, but I want people to put that on their 2025 calendar because that's going to be, I think it's going to be another great event, Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how we could beat last year. We had such a great time, but I'm so excited. I was actually in Phoenix last week, and, I got a quick practice round in just so I could start prepping for the outing. But, yeah, no, last year was so much fun. I'm really excited for this year as well. It should just be awesome.
It will be awesome. MUCC.org, and on there you can get the tickets for the Super Bowl package, right?
Correct. Yep. You can actually go to mucc.org/Super Bowl.
/Super
That'll take
Bowl.
you directly to the page. If you go to the main site, there will be a little pop-up that shows you how to get tickets as well. But, yep, you can find them all on the website.
Perfect. MUCC.org, MUCC/Super Bowl. And, Tyler, keep up the good work on the podcast. I'm really enjoying that. You guys are doing a great job.
I appreciate that, Mike. We've got some good guests coming up in the new year, so should keep growing it. It should be better than ever.
Perfect. Tyler Mehigh of MUCC, Michigan United Conservation Clubs, MUCC.org/Super Bowl. I think it's a pretty cool promotion. I mean, I'm gonna get in on it. Why not? All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, this week's Ask Avery segment, and I'm still kind of thinking of how best to address this, but I'm going to throw out a question that was sent to me by a listener and a friend. That's coming up after the break. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Houghton Lake on 98.5 WUPS. You can hear us in Holland on WHTC 1450 AM, 99.7 FM, and north of the bridge in Manistee on WTIQ 1490 AM, 95.3 FM. The Ask Avery segment is brought to you each week by the good folks at Security Credit Union. Security Credit Union loves to work with outdoorsmen and women, and they can help you with your next outdoor adventure. Check them out online at securitycu.org. That's securitycu.org. Now, you know this by now, but the best way, but the Ask Avery segment is your chance to ask me a question directly, or to pose a question to me that you'd like me to get to somebody maybe in MUCC or DNR or someplace you can't reach. The best way to get those to me is to send me an email to mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. That is what my friend Victor did. He sent me an email. He says, Mike, I suspect after your recent health scare, you have thought about this, and the new year tends to cause individuals to take a retrospective view. He said, where did you think? He said, looking back 45 years to when you were a senior at Ferris, looking at graduation. By the way, go Dogs, playing for the National Championship Division II. Maybe by the time you hear this show, they will have won another national championship. Anyway, where did you think you were going to be? And then what path did your career take as opposed to what really happened? He said, did you have, and he tells me a little bit about his life and his career, which I won't share here on the air. He said, what about you? Have you had instances that were disappointments when things did not go the way you had planned, but eventually they got you to where you are now? Victor, yes. You and I are about at the same point in life. We're about the same age. We have some similar experiences. But, yeah, well, I'll go back even farther. When I was a kid growing up on the west side of the state, northern Kent County, out on the farm, did I ever think that I would be doing this for a living? Absolutely not. I knew that I had a strong interest in electronics. In fact, I went to Ferris for electronics. At the time, radio and TV repair. Now, thank God I didn't decide to try to make a living out of that, because I might as well have been a chimney sweep, right? Because there just is no need for radio, TV repair anymore. That was a 2-year program. When I graduated from that, I knew I wanted something more. I knew I wasn't ready to leave college yet. I wasn't ready to leave the life of a college kid. There was this new program opening up at Ferris called BET, Broadcast Electronics Technology. And it was basically preparing kids to be in industrial or corporate television behind the scenes. I got into that, and I absolutely loved it. I loved the idea of storytelling using video. I love the technology. I've always been a geek. I'm still a geek today. I love technology and electronics and using those tools to tell stories. I thought I was going to end up in corporate TV somewhere. In fact, my dream when I was at Ferris graduating was I was talking with a guy in Golden, Colorado at the Coors Brewery Company. I wanted to go work for Coors in their video production department. That didn't work out. I ended up interning at GMI, the old GMI, now called, I think, Kettering. Ended up not being able to get a job in corporate TV, but my video skills, my technological skills got me into WJRT, TV 12 in Flint. as a part-time videographer. Turns out I had a pretty good eye. I was pretty good at it. Also, being a young guy with a full head of hair, they said, hey, we could put him on camera. They put me on camera after stumbling through, and I mean stumbling through, my early days of reporting, and they are painfully bad. I got a job at TV5 in Saginaw. I was there for 11 years. There's by the way, they're celebrating, 75 years? They've never once reached out to me after working there for 11 years and probably having one of the more successful franchises ever to come out of WNEM. Never asked me about it. Anyway, I'm getting off track here. I started the News 5 Outdoors thing. I started Outdoor Magazine, and it just kind of grew from there. It took off from there. So do I have regrets? Yeah. And you know what my biggest regret is? And this is not broadcast related at all. And my biggest regret in life is that when I was a young man, I never stepped up and volunteered and signed up for the military. That is my biggest regret in life. I feel like I never did my part, and I'm disappointed and almost ashamed that I never did that. Now, when I was of that age, we were just coming out of Vietnam, and it certainly wasn't the cool thing to do, but that's no excuse. I didn't do my part. The draft was over. I just missed the draft, and I never did my part. Do I have other regrets? Yes, all the same regrets that old guys do as they look back on their life as a young, stupid kid who did dumb things. And yeah, there are some things I wish I wouldn't have done, certainly. But my true biggest regret is I never signed up. I never served. Wish I would have done that. It's too late now. But overall, I've had a pretty good life. And yes, after coming through the stroke and now some other things, and yeah, I look back on it and go, I've been very blessed, very lucky, very blessed. So as we come up on this Christmas season, I got a lot to be thankful for, and a lot of years to look back on. And you know what? Listen, God willing, I'm going to be here for a while yet. The things that maybe I haven't done right, I still got time to do them right. How cool is that? God's not done with me yet. I don't think. But I didn't think I was going to stroke out either. Thank you, Victor, for bringing that up. And thank you, Security Credit Union, for making each week's Ask Avery segment possible.
Time now for Michigan's #1 outdoor radio show, Mike Avery's Outdoor Magazine. Mike Avery has covered the outdoors in Michigan for more than 4 decades, and that tradition continues today. Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Jay's Sporting Goods, the Eider Insurance Group, Angler Quest Pontoons, the Forward Corporation, Primal Outdoors, Security Credit Union, Offshore Tackle, Garber Chevrolet, Rapid River Knife Works, and by Michigan Brand Meats. Now, here's Mike Avery.
Well, thank you, Ken Hunter. Welcome to hour number 3 of this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. Right here at the Outdoor Magazine radio network on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan. The last time that you and I will get a chance to talk before Christmas. So Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to you and your family. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. I hope you have a chance to spend some time with your family and friends. As I was saying earlier in the show, I hope you will keep in mind the real reason for Christmas, right? It's not Santa Claus. It's not Rudolph. No, those are fun, right? You got to do those for the kids. They're fun. The real reason for the season of Christmas, though, is the birth of a Savior. And please keep that in mind. I make that a point in my life to keep that in mind, because it's not always easy to manipulate and work your way through life, right? But if you've got some help from, in my case, I like to think of it, help from above, it does help out. You know, this world that we live in here, though, is a beautiful, wonderful world. If we want to take advantage of it, if we want to get out there and see all these wonderful opportunities that are out there. Here in Michigan, there is something that is very cool that I'm surprised to learn a lot of people in our state don't even know exists, and that's our Michigan elk herd. Centered around the Pigeon River Forest there and, spilling out into the farmland around there. It is absolutely beautiful. I first started to be aware of these animals back when I was, in TV news years and years and years ago. And we used to travel up there and get video of them. And the very first modern day hunt again, we went out there on that, and it was just very impressive. Vance Gawel is an elk hunting guide here in Michigan. In fact, he's known as one of the best in the state. And he's with us now on the Outdoor Magazine phone line to talk more about this. Vance, welcome back. How have you been?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Man, I expected you to come on with a raspy voice, and I was going to give you some grief and say, Vance, you sound terrible.
I'm going to try and not cough the whole time. My voice is shot. I'm just sucking down water right now trying to function.
I can hear it in your voice now. Hey, listen, I appreciate you taking a break because I'll tell our listeners, you really said, look, I want to do this next week when I'm done and when I'm healthy again. And I said, no, let's do it when you're right in the heart of it if you can. And the heart of it, or at least the tail end of it, being our December Michigan elk hunt. And you're having a tremendous season, aren't you?
Yeah, it's been really, really good start. It feels like it's like day 7 or 8 right now. And what is it, day 5? We've taken 9 so far,
wow.
9 elk. 6 bulls, 3 cows, and I actually don't have a tag today. I'm just helping out some other guides, buddies that got a couple tags, and I'll have a tag come back tomorrow, and then I'll be working for a guy again. So it's busy. It's a busy time of year for sure.
So how many hunters will you work with this season? And did you work with early season hunters too, Vance?
I did. I'd have to think. I think we took 4 or 5 in the early season. I don't take as many tags. Between me and a couple of my partners, Ben Hubert and Preston Castleman, we had trying to think here. I believe we had six tags for the December opening day, and then I had another guide, Ashton Burns, that he came over on opening day, and because we had a big group of animals. But we've got some coming in this weekend, a couple bull hunters that not quite sure. They haven't been able to be out all week, but we'll help them. And like I said, I have a cow hunter that had to go home for a few days. He's coming back tomorrow. So while we don't have tags, we're just kind of driving around looking for people to help.
Yeah.
For instance, yesterday a guy called me Monday night and hadn't seen anything yet. Excuse me. And he showed up yesterday at 1:00, and I think he was done at 1:45.
Oh, you're kidding me.
He was he killed a 6x6.
Oh my
About
goodness.
a half hour of work, and all of us are just all year watching these animals, and for the last 3 weeks, I go out before work and after work and just kind of babysit them so that we can know where they are, so we can give these guys the best hunts they can have.
Well, when you say that this hunter hadn't seen an animal, and in 45 minutes you had a 6x6, he had a 6x6 down in working with you, I got to be honest, Vance, if I didn't know you and didn't know how things work up there, I would say, well, this is a canned hunt. This isn't a real hunt. What's up here?
No, he had been hunting in the pigeon alone, and just it's different up there. You run into there's a ton of people, and so he called Monday night, and I was out of bull tags, but I'm still hunting all day long. Get up 3:30 in the morning, and until it gets dark. And I had located a group of bulls that night, and I knew where they were bedded. And these are on state land. And so when he called, I said, "Yeah, I've got bulls. Try and get here in the morning." And we would have just gone after them in the morning and I can get on their tracks. And track them down and take a look at them. But we didn't actually go anywhere near those bulls. Another private farm to the east, excuse me, they had some bulls from the group that we had taken the bulls out opening day. They were feeding out in the open, and a friend knew where they actually went and took one and then told me where they were bedded. And we walked in when he got there, and they busted out, and they ran onto some of my private ground, and we just do it so much, especially on our private chunks. You know where they're going, so we just got ahead of them and found them fairly easy. So.
It sounds like a lot of success in Michigan elk hunting is being connected. It's having help from other guides and having access maybe to a lot of property.
Yeah, we have a ton of access to private. All the ground I'd farmed in the past, they don't want the elk there, so they let us take care of him. And there's a lot of networking between the guides. Most all of us work together and try and help each other out, because it's a lot of fun. This is probably my favorite week of the year. So,
why do the farmers not want the elk?
They do an incredible amount of damage, beyond just, seeing them eating the crops and taking the crops. You got to think of the bulls right now, 500, 600 pounds. There was 12 of them in this one field, and they're causing compaction, tons of damage just being there, but a lot of crop damage. And honestly, a lot of the local deer hunters don't, to the south, I won't speak for everyone, not a lot of people like seeing them because they'll put in these little small food plots and 5 or 6 animals come through and wipe them out in a night or two. So they're fun to look at, but they can do a lot of damage. They're extremely large. So
you said 500 pounds for a big bull?
One of the hunters from opening day took his to the Atlanta elk bull, and he was 556. He won the bull with the weight.
Wow.
So that was dressed out. They've lost a lot of weight from the summer too, from after the rut. They're not in great condition right now.
Yeah. So let me back up a step. Did you have Alex Mishar? Was he one of your hunters?
Yeah, this is probably everybody that was involved's favorite hunt.
Can you tell me about that? Because I posted that picture and I thought this just looks wonderful.
Yeah. So I know his dad, Mike Mishar, really well. And he called me when they got a tag, and I said, yeah, we want to help you. Everybody wants to help you. He knows a lot of the guides. And we had this group of 12 bulls at the farm, at one of the farms. And
12 bulls?
Yeah, there was a group of 12 bulls. And they'd been there for solid 2 weeks, so we watched them and knew what they were doing, knew where they were bedding. Excuse me. And so we all agreed, I had, I was working with the guys I do, Ben and Preston, and Ashton came over, Ashton Burns, another really good guide. And we all said, hey, let's get Alex his first shot before it gets hectic, because it tends to get hectic in those situations. And we wanted him to have the calm shot. So Mike, Alex, and I walked in right at first shooting light. We knew where they were at. And we probably walked 300 yards. It took about 5 minutes, and we could see bulls. And we got him on the 6x6. He shot, and he took care of business. He did the rest. Did a great job.
Yeah, that picture is posted on my Facebook, by the way. We got to take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine Show. Vance, hang tight. Take a break. Drink some water. Drink some coffee, and give your throat a little bit of a rest. We're talking with Vance Gawel. He's one of the best elk hunting guides in Michigan, and they're just coming off the December hunt. 12 bulls in one field. Wow. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up our conversation with Vance, a few more things to talk about, and then we'll wrap up this week's show with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Minar. That's all coming up yet in hour number 3 of this week's Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Ludington on News 97, 98, 98.7 WLDN. You can hear us in St. Joe on WSJM 94.9 FM. And you can hear us in Tawas on WIOS 1480 AM and 106.9 FM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Reader Landscaping. Reader can take care of your lawn and property because it's your nature and our nurture. This time of year, the folks at Reader are thinking, well, a couple of things. They're thinking the holiday season. They're thinking snow plowing. And they're thinking, you know what? It's not too early to start thinking about spring. But first of all, if you want to get, listen, we don't know what the winter's going to bring, right? Is it going to be a lot of snow? Is it not going to be a lot of snow? But not much snow, at least down here in this part of the state. But do you really want to deal with it? Or do you want to let somebody else deal with it? Somebody with a truck, young, strong back, let them do it. ReaderLandscaping.com is the website, ReaderLandscaping.com. Right now I'm talking with Vance Gawel, a Vance friend of mine. And Vance is actually, he's under the weather. He's not feeling well. He's tired. And he told me going into this, he said, let's wait until next week to talk when I'm, done with the heart of this hunting season and, get feeling a little bit better. And I said, Vance, if you can possibly do it, let's do it this week. And he has graciously agreed. And Vance, listen, I know you're not feeling well, and I really do appreciate your time, my friend.
Oh, no, I feel pretty good. I'm just worn down.
Yeah.
But I was just more worried about we're out here right now and just being in the right place to have a cell phone signal. That was my biggest fear.
Well, good. It worked out well, and I appreciate it. Let's talk about this December hunt. How is it different than elk hunting in Michigan, say, that September hunt, real early?
Well, the snow is the big difference. That makes it a lot easier. Once we just need to find tracks, that's what we're looking for in the mornings early before we even pick hunters up. And we have tracks. They cannot get away from us. We can stay on them all day long, and if need be. So, because that's the key is the tracks. The early season, sand, you get some tracks where they cross, but it's tough to find them with no snow.
How
this evens the playing field a lot.
How big, geographically, how big is the area that you hunt or have access to?
This year has been different. I haven't left probably 10 square miles. There's very spotty acorns this year, so they come up really heavy into the farm country the last few weeks. So we haven't gone very far. I could tell you probably 7 miles south is the farthest. Took a cow the other day from where we started, and that's very small. I've only been in a pigeon for about 3 hours the other day, and I just saw too many people, so I went back.
And those people you saw, were they hunters and guides, or are they just sightseers just wanting to see elk?
There's, there'll be a few people that want to see them, that are interested in seeing people's elk when they bring them out, but there's just a lot of guides, a lot of trucks, a lot of spectators. Hunters bring a lot of people, and sometimes they have to take multiple trucks, but it's getting a lot less busy now up there. We're actually going to be up there in an hour or two checking on some things. So.
Can you hunt elk in Michigan without a guide?
Yeah, you can absolutely. Lots of people do-it-yourselfers take elk without guides at all, but it's a little tougher. Like I said, most of the guides are watching these elk and following these elk year-round. That's what I do now. I don't really deer hunt. I don't run the bear hounds anymore. The elk is my favorite thing, and spend all year keeping track of them. So.
Why are they your favorite?
There's just something about walking up to a great big bull once your hunter takes it and kills one, and these guys get so happy when it's over. They don't know what to expect, and it's the biggest success, is the biggest trophy, I guess. Trophy is a bad word. I mean, it's just such a big animal. It's so different. Everybody's used to deer, and they're just, I guess, majestic. When you follow them and get them and all that good stuff.
And you just said something, too, that I hadn't consciously thought of before is the people that you're taking out, for many of them, for most of them, this is truly the hunt of a lifetime.
I can tell you 4 hunters I took that have never seen an elk until Saturday morning in their lives. And I can't tell you how many people cry when it's over. It really makes you feel good helping people out like that. It's a lot of fun.
What should a Michigan elk hunter expect during this December season? I mean, what are they hunting with? How far are the shots? The details, the specifics.
A lot of times we get a lot of under 100-yard shots. If somebody can walk with me, we'll go in and take somebody on tracks and eventually catch up to the animals and decide if there's something we want to take. This year, a lot of long shots, a lot of 300-yard shots. I had a 9-year-old who his grandfather gifted him the tag because he had some issues where he couldn't come, and he shot one, and it was a 396 yards.
Oh my gosh!
A 9-year-old kid. I was shocked. I heard the shot because I was following the animals. Obviously he couldn't walk very far in that deep snow, and I was shocked. But typically it seems like 100, 150, or under 100, but a lot of 300-yard stuff this year. You guys have done really well.
Standard deer rifles, 30-06s. I mean, what do people come up there with, and what would you like to see them use?
I see a lot of 30-06s. I like 300 Win mags, 300 short mags, stuff like that. Those seem to do a really good job. 30-06s do great as well. I've had guys with about the smallest you want to go is probably 270, but they do a really good job as well. But those are a few of my favorites.
They're
Murphy.
They're a big animal, right? You got a lot to shoot at.
Yeah. Big vitals.
But still, a big animal means there's just more of them to absorb that impact when you shoot them, I think, too.
Yes, for sure. So, like I said, 300 Win mag's probably my favorite one. It's got to be in something in that caliber. The Murphy, the 9-year-old, he's very young, and he was used to shooting a 350 Legend, and I spoke with his dad. I speak with all the hunters a month in advance, just keeping them updated. And we decided that we better try something a little more than that. And I think he ended up practicing, and he had a 30-06, if I recall. So I have to go back after season and sort everything out. There's been so many people and so many elk.
And so many cool, wonderful experiences. Is there a lot of logistics behind the scene?
They're all great. So Friday night, I meet all my hunters, get how many people they have with them, and so I'm trying to organize trucks Friday night for Saturday morning, and I had 22 people with spectators that were coming for the morning. It's like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? But it worked out great. We're down to just me and a buddy, 2 trucks. So
when does that season end now, Vance?
It'll end on Sunday.
Okay.
Excuse me. This Sunday. So we got 4 or 5 days left.
And as people are hearing this radio show, they're hearing it this weekend. So the season's just wrapping up. Do you get a feel? Yeah. Do these folks tell you, okay, I've been putting in for a Michigan elk hunt for 20 years or 25 years or 5 years? I mean, what do you hear from people?
I get a lot of people that get lucky in the first try. But there's, you hear, I've had, guys that have been doing it since the very first one they could do, but a lot of 10 to 15 year stuff really seems to be the norm. I've been putting in a long time. I've never got one. So I don't really expect it.
You have helped so many people get elk over the years. I think it would be cool if you could finally sometime yourself get a tag. That would be karma coming back.
I don't know what I'd do, though. Because I wouldn't take anybody, and I'd feel bad for not taking anybody in the season I got it. I just concentrate and on the one. I wouldn't want to do that to anybody else. So I don't know. I don't really care about shooting stuff anymore. It's fun being with other people when they do it. Just
Is it harder? I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. Do you see more bulls or more cows during this December season, or is it just because you're hunting more of a particular sex?
I feel like the cows are harder all the time, and I can't explain why. Like I said, we've taken 6 bulls and 3 cows now. The bulls just don't seem to be as intelligent. I guess it's the nicest way to put it.
How do you get a 500-pound critter out of the woods after you shoot him?
Friends, my buddy Ben came up with a nice tow strap that we put on a huge jet sled. Get him in a jet sled, rope goes straight out. You can get like 6 guys in a line on the rope and go for it. That's about the best way to do it.
Vance, I realize the season's over now, but for basically over now. But it's something we can dream about. If we get a tag in the future, like how do we find you? There used to be a Facebook page where you and your buddy's guide service. I don't know if it's still out there or what. What is that?
Yeah. No, I just search on Facebook my name, Vance Gawel, Gawel.
Okay.
And or the DNR guide list. They'll have a list of all the approved guides. Find people in there. And when I book and I'm filled up, I give people a number to other good guides that we all work together. So
all right, well,
we all help each other.
You have a reputation as being one of the best out there, and I think it's well earned and well deserved. And when I win the Pure Michigan Hunt and I get my bull elk tag, you are going to be my first call.
Yeah, and you'll be the only one, and we'll go find the biggest and best we can.
All right, Vance, I appreciate that. Thanks for your time. Good luck with the rest of the season. You and I will talk again.
All right, thanks.
Vance Gawel, Michigan Elk Guide. Again, you can find him on Facebook, Vance Gawel, Gawel, Gawel. And he will be. When I win the Pure Michigan Hunt, Vance will be, well, he won't be my first call. He'll be one of my first calls. We'll take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine show. When we come back, a few more thoughts, then we'll wrap it all up with Dixie Dave. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Manistee on WMLQ 97.7 FM. You can hear us just down the coast on WKBZ in Muskegon. It's 1090 AM. And you can hear us on the other side of the state, Saginaw. WSGW AM and FM, 790 AM, 100.5 FM. I'm in the studios of WSGW right now. I'm here with Charlie Rood. Charlie. You know, I really like working with Charlie because Charlie's not pressuring me to leave this studio like Jonathan Dent is. John Dent told me last week, he said, I'd really like you to move studios. I don't want to be hard. Charlie, I want to be easy to do. I thought that was John right there. I'll do what you guys want, but I kind of like this studio because, it's got the Outdoor Magazine sign behind me, and it just kind of feels like home. But listen, I want to be a good working partner, so I'll do what I want. And by the way, there's not a big crowd out there for Charlie today because the weather's just kind of rotten. But when the weather's nice, they are here for Charlie. This segment of Outdoor Magazine brought to you by a truck trolley. If you are tired of reaching way back over that tailgate to get into the front of your bed of your truck, get yourself a truck trolley. A truck trolley is a portable, removable platform. It's on little rollers that you can roll out and get access to anything in your truck bed. You push it back in. I use mine every day, whether it's hunting equipment, fishing equipment. In the summertime, it's golf clubs. This time of year, it might be groceries, Christmas supplies. These things are, you get what, if you have a truck, you need a truck trolley. And if you want to save a few bucks, go to the website, trucktrolley.com. That's trucktrolley.com. And use the promo code Avery10 to get 10% off. This is only through the end of the year. If you use promo code Avery10 at trucktrolley.com, you'll get free shipping. And if you live close to Andy Weiss, he'll come over and put it in for you. How cool is that? Trucktrolley.com. Oh, so what's on the list here to talk about? I think my deer hunting for the season is probably over. I just, there are seasons, there are opportunities. There's the late antlerless doe season, and then the extended antlerless season into January. But we're just not seeing any daytime activity, not seeing any daytime movement at all. And I get why that is. The deer have been hunted hard now for several weeks. I would I would definitely be better off doing something else. What would that be? If I was an ice fisherman, maybe find some early season ice somewhere in the state. Maybe I should be going up and fishing with Bob Hinds up Traverse Bay after these late season open water jumbo perch. I talked to Bob in the first hour of the show. He's talking about fish up to 15 inches. He calls an 8-inch perch a small perch. And these aren't fish stories. I've seen the pictures. The Grillo guys from Michigan Brand Meats fish with him all the time. And I posted on my Facebook page some pictures of the Grillo guys out there with him, earlier last week. And the guy does catch big fish. Let me talk about a couple of other promo codes too. Rapid River Knives. Now, their selection has been hit hard by Christmas, but they might have a few left. If not, they will work hard to restock the store after Christmas. And this is a promo code Avery10 that goes on year-round. It's in person at the store on US 2 just east of Rapid River or on the website rapidriverknifeworks.com. One other promo code to talk about, Mike20 on the Michigan Brand website, the Grillo guys. MichiganBrand.net, use the promo code Mike20. You can get 20% off your entire order. We just finished up here last week, our last Wednesday night live for the year, and we gave away our last ham for the holidays, courtesy of the folks at Michigan Brand. The next Wednesday is Christmas. I'm not doing a Wednesday night live at Christmas, and the following Wednesday night is New Year's, so we're not going to do any Wednesday night lives, or in fact, behind the mic segments for the next couple of weeks. We'll continue to do Outdoor Magazine radio shows. I'm not going to leave you hanging. I wouldn't do that. Oh, what else? Merry Christmas to you and to your family. I hope you have a chance to get together with family, get together with friends. I'm excited about Christmas. My grandson is getting baptized Christmas Eve. My daughter and her husband Aditi are coming up for a few days. The rest of the grandkids, the kids are going to be over. It's going to be nice. Looking forward to it. I do want to leave you with this though. Please keep in mind the reason we have Christmas, and it's not Santa, and it's not cookies for Santa, and it's not Rudolph, and it's not reindeer, it's not any of that other stuff. We have to do those, and those things are fun traditions, right? They're fun, and the kids just absolutely love it. But the reason we have Christmas is to celebrate the birth of a Savior, the birth of Jesus. I find real comfort in my life having faith. And I have faith because Jesus was born. And that's why I celebrate Christmas, the birth of Jesus. I would ask you to keep that in mind this Christmas season. If you can find that peace, that faith, it helps. It helps life be a little smoother. Even when you face some pretty tough things. Some things that you go, man, I didn't see that one coming. If you have a sense of faith, it can smooth everything out. We'll take a break. When we come back, wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Minar. as promised, wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Minar, a guy who I have worked with forever. We were both much younger when we started. Back on the old Outdoor Magazine television show, Dave was on every week with me, and I had a chance to watch him work his magic in the kitchen and beyond. You know, out on the grill, out in the field, out at events and such, and catering for different events. But the guy really has a sense for how to tease the very best out of what he's working with, taste-wise, visually. As he reminded me last week, it's got to look good before it can taste good. But the thing about Dave is he's just a really good guy. He's a loyal guy, he's a nice guy, and he's with us now on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. David, welcome back, buddy.
How you doing, Michael? I'm fine.
I am doing great. I couldn't be better, actually. Couldn't be better.
Glad to hear it.
What do you have for us this week, Dave?
Well, we got on page 147 a rabbit loin with wild mushrooms. And we used to be able to get New Zealand rabbits imported in, to the country, and they're a lot larger. So we made a lot of specials with the rabbits that we used to be able to get from the game company. And nothing wrong with cottontails or snowshoes, but you can't sell them in Michigan. So
Gotcha.
Okay, so you're going to allow both boneless loins per side per person, and that's going to tally up to about 7 or 8 ounces, which is, for 4 portions, that's a real nice dish. Medium onion diced fine, a couple of stems of leeks washed, desanded, and diced fine, 2 shallots. We're not going to use garlic in this. We want the shallots. A pound of woodland fungi, whether it's morels, wood ear, oyster, shiitakes, whatever you can hunt up in the woods yourself, or you can go to like a Myers grocery store and buy them in the produce section. And I like to use a little bit of fresh sage, coarsely chopped. Either a half a cup of Madeira or Marsala. Either one works good because they're both about the same sweetness. A jar of beef gravy, a couple tablespoons of sour cream, splash of balsamic vinegar, and pretty much a lot of black pepper grated over the meat before you even pound it out, because you're going to put the meat in between saran wrap. So you want to drive that into the meat, which give it a lot more flavor, and a little bit of flour to dredge and olive oil to saute. So as we said, we're going to take the trimmed loins. You want to get all the silver off of them, and then grate pepper all over it, as much or as little as you like. I know Mike likes a lot.
Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
Bring it, down to about 3/8 or a ½ inch, or maybe even a little less. So after you've got the grated pepper on it and you pounded it in, you're going to take a little bit of olive oil, and you're going to dredge the meat in flour, and you're going to saute them. You're going to brown them off real nice, so it's going to give a nice caramelization to it. And you're going to take them out. You might have to do it in batches, depending on how many you're going to do. And then put it to a plate, so it's kind of out of the way. And then add the onions, the leeks, the shallots, and the mushrooms, and saute that up for 2 or 3, 4 minutes just to get it going. Break the flavor loose, and then you want to add this sage and the wine, whichever you choose, and bring that back to a high heat and get that rolling real good. Add the balsamic vinegar, just a little splash, because it's kind of like the tartness between the wine and the balsamic vinegar is going to give you a heck of a good flavor. And then you want to reduce that down, and then add your brown gravy. Bring it up to a boil. Taste it. At this point, you want to be able to adjust any of the flavors that you're trying to achieve. And then you can put the rabbit back in the sauce, reduce the heat down, and cover it and simmer it for 12 to 15 minutes, or you could actually bake it at 350 degrees if you so desire. And then when the rabbit is nice and tender, you're going to shut the burner off, and when it's not boiling, stir in the sour cream. So it might have a tendency to clabber, kind of look funny. And then when it's all done, served with wild rice blend or noodles or whatever your favorite side dish is. But it's a great way to use cottontails or snowshoes from Michigan.
What, leeks, shallots, and fungi? You pulled out all the stops on this one.
Right. We used to sell this at the restaurant a lot. We used morels, and we used to buy a woodland blend that had, all kind of mushrooms in it from all over the country, and it really made a heck of a nice meal.
David, this is page 147. I will post this on my Facebook page. I appreciate your time, and Merry Christmas to you, my friend.
Yeah, you too. And we did this for the TV show, so you might be able to dig up.
Yeah, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, see if I can find it.
Yeah. Everybody else, be safe and sane and have a wonderful Christmas and holiday.
All right. Wild Game Chef Extraordinaire Dixie Dave Minar, a big part of the Outdoor Magazine show, as are you. If you weren't listening, there'd be no reason to do this, and I would be very, very sad. As Dave said and I said earlier, a very Merry Christmas to you and your family. I hope you have a chance to just sit down, relax, decompress, enjoy each other's company, enjoy some great food. I know we will be at the Avery house, including, of course, the Michigan brand ham we have for every holiday. My name is Mike Avery. This show is called Outdoor Magazine. My website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. My email address, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Love to hear from you.